If you're an entrepreneur, chances are you have like a never-ending list of things that you want to get done today. But here's the thing, you probably don't do one of those things today. Maybe tomorrow you don't do it either, and then the day after that you don't do it either, because nothing really happens. But what you don't know is that you're digging yourself in such a big, deep hole that when you realize you're in that deep hole, it's gonna be very hard to get out of it. Over the last couple of years, I've helped almost 850 plus online coaches, people ranging from just beginning in the business world to making millions of dollars a year. And I've always realized that there's three things that help them go from a procrastinator to being so relentless that they force their business to grow. But what you don't know is that one, you're putting things off in such a way that you don't realize you're doing it. And number two, you're probably already working on the wrong thing. So in this video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share with you the three big shifts that I've done personally myself to grow my business, but also the three things I tell all my clients privately so that we literally force their business to grow. Number one is you have to get close to the consequences. What a lot of people don't know is that I actually played professional football in Brazil for a very short period of time because that was my dream. When I was 19 years old, 18 years old, I got the opportunity to be sent out, flown to Brazil to actually sign a professional contract for a team like them in the first division. And I thought I had it all figured out. I'm going to be a professional football player. But I got really slapped in the face with reality when I got there. I didn't grow up rich by any means, but I didn't grow up extremely poor. I grew up in a somewhat of a middle-class family from a military family. So I didn't have to play football to put food on the table. And that's the reality of things that I saw when I got there. The people I was playing with, my teammates, they were fighting and they were playing to put food on the table. They were getting paid very little, but if they didn't play, they didn't make money. If they missed practice, they ran the risk of not being able to play games. And if you don't play games, you don't get paid. So they literally were so close to the consequence of not getting results that all they had was legitimately the hunger of having to do the thing, or else they would literally have no food. Some of them had families at 20 and 19. They already had kids. And I got confronted with that reality. For me, I didn't have to play that hard. I didn't have to push that hard. I didn't have that innate hunger in me of I have to fucking play, because if I don't, I'm not gonna get money. If I don't, I'm not gonna eat. I had the fortunate luck of being able to, call it quits anytime and just go home, essentially. It's the same thing that happens when you're an entrepreneur. I had a 9 to 5 much later on where I was comfortable. And that's all I wanted. If I'm being honest with you, all I wanted was to have a 9 to 5 in the US, which I had for some time. I was working at an ad agency and I was very comfortable. You get sold this dream of, if you're an entrepreneur, you have no boss, you have no deadlines, you don't have to do anything on the calendar, you don't have to call another man a boss, you don't have to ask for PTO or pay time off, and all those things. But that's a double-edged sword. Yes, you don't have a boss, yes, you don't have deadlines, yes, you don't have these things, but you have to build them back on purpose. You have to treat yourself as a boss. You have to be able to put your boss hat on when you're working, when you put things on the calendar that need to get done. For me, it's creating this video. I have to create videos in order to grow my business. Yes, there's nobody bugging you and messaging you about where's that video or where's the thing that you're supposed to be doing, because at the end of the day, you're your own boss. Yes, but that's a double-edged sword. Are you a good boss or not? And you have to put yourself close to that consequence of, like, if you don't get the shit done that you say you were gonna get done, you're not growing. And that's why you're sitting on the idea that you have had for months of the offer thing that you've wanted to do, or the cohort that you wanted to run, or the piece of content that you wanted to post, but you're so afraid of posting because what are people going to say? But you're so comfortable because you're in this little cocoon of, like, I don't have to do things because nobody's telling me to do them. And it's going to be that same curse that I had when I got there, which was I'm not close enough to the consequence. And maybe you had a great month and that removes all this pressure of having to work, and that's why you have roller coaster revenue months, and that's why you have people churning, and it's not until it's very late where you're not doing something today or tomorrow or the day after that, and then you realize it when it's too late of, like, oh fuck, I'm actually stuck. So the thing I did, and I force all my clients to do, is you have to get close to the consequence. You have to understand your why. You have to be reminded of that every single day. If you're like me, I'm very competitive. I'm always thinking about what are my competitors doing? They're working, they're signing clients, they're on calls, they're posting content. You have to act that way, because if you're like me, you're in the office most of the day, you have no visibility of what are other people doing out there, how hard they're working, because I promise you they're working really hard, but you don't have the visibility. You're not close enough to the consequences of you not doing the work, and that's the first thing that you have to get done. Number two is FAFO. I don't know if I can say that word here, but it's fuck around and find out. One of the most important things you can ever have in business or in life is have somebody who's gone through the same journey you're going through, successfully of course, and having them give you enough clarity so that you know exactly what the next step you need to take, so that whenever they tell you to do something, you just have to do it knowing that the result of doing that is going to be beneficial. And most of the times you don't feel like doing those things. Most of the times you don't want to wake up early. Most of the times you want to snooze. Most of the time you don't want to go train. Most of the times you don't want to read the books that you're supposed to read in order to increase your intellect so that you can help more people. But But unfortunately, if you want to be the 1%, you have to do what the 1% are doing. And it's stuff that you're probably avoiding because it's uncomfortable, or because you're afraid of, what if I do these things and it's not gonna work the way it's supposed to work? All the things I tell myself and I tell my clients is, you just have to act first and then iterate. You just have to do the thing and see what happens. Because most of the times as entrepreneurs, you're overthinking. For me, this is not a problem, but I have to say this because for a lot of people it's a problem. But it's like, what are people gonna think about me? I don't give a fuck about what people think about me. I really don't. But for some, that's a problem, and I have to recognize that. But you're stuck thinking about that. You're stuck thinking about, oh, what are my high school friends that are following me on Instagram gonna think about me? It doesn't really matter. You have to be selfish, and like, you have to act for your own best benefit. And the only way to do it is that you just have to act first. You don't have to feel motivated to work. Drink some more coffee, man, and like, do the thing. Either if motivation happens or not, you just have to do the thing. Like, I've gone through really hard personal stuff in the last year where like, it doesn't really matter. I just have to show up because that's the kind of person that I need to be in order to get to where I want to be to. And something that I do on sales calls is I really have to understand the why behind it, because usually the why is the thing that is driving the thing. Yeah, you might not have motivation, but when you don't understand the why, then it probably pushes you a little bit further. So there's a 3 whys process that I like to ask clients is, why do you want to do this? I want to make more money. Why do you want to make more money? Well, I want more freedom. Why do you want more freedom? And usually by the 3rd why, you actually get the why behind it. For me, ultimately, I found out that the greatest version of myself is working towards a goal where I have the capability of impacting millions of people. And I can do so not by posting content and going viral, but by having people work under my wing so I can help their coaching business grow. And by doing so, I'm able to help a lot of people. So number 1 was being in close proximity with a consequence outside of you. Number 2 is more building the consequence inside of you. Are you gonna wake up 10 years from today wishing that you had worked harder? And if that's the case, well, start working, start doing the thing. Number 3, there's a book that I actually like to buy my clients, which is called The One Thing, essentially. You have to have the consciousness, you have to have the willpower, and you have to have the intelligence to understand what are the things that you're avoiding right now that you need to get done. You have to understand that the results you're looking for are in the work that you're avoiding. And it's not only that, but it's also understanding what is the work that you need to actually do. Because it sucks if you're working 4 months, you then realize that you're working on the wrong thing for the longest time. It sucks, it's really bad. But the worst problem is knowing the big list of things that you have to get done. And in those big lists of things, you also have the things that actually are going to impact your business. And you have something called selective procrastination, where you start doing the easiest things first. And then by the time comes when you actually have to do the hard things, you leave them for tomorrow. That's the difference between somebody that's making $100,000 a month and somebody who's roller coaster between 10K a month, 20K a month, 5K, 0K a month. So it's selective procrastination, and the other one is fear. Working with a lot of coaches in different niches and different countries, different cultures, everything. The fear is, it's rarely not knowing what to do, because usually what it feels like is like you have a Frankenstein of ideas of things that you want to get done, but it's not wanting to be judged because of it. It's maybe posting that piece of content that feels a little bit awkward. It's maybe putting yourself out there, doing offers that might not hit. Maybe it's doing VSLs that are not going to be doing well. Maybe it's doing something that doesn't feel right at the moment. You know you have to do those, but the fear and the over-preparedness, perfectionism, it's stopping you from doing the thing that, you know, once you do it, you're going to get some benefit. Even if you fail, you learn. Even if you lose, you learn. It doesn't matter. But it's the fear that's holding you back. It's a limiting belief that's holding you back. And again, with that comes the over-optimization. You think that you have to have all the bullet journals. You have to have a journal in the morning, a journal in the afternoon, a journal at night, that you have to have some sort of morning routine, that you have to have all this like perfect ecosystem in your office, and then that your office have to be like extremely organized to get shit done. It doesn't work that way. Like right now, you just have to focus on like, what's the one thing that if I do today and if I complete today, it's going to make everything else irrelevant. That's what you have to focus on right now. And with my clients, most of my calls are not about speaking about a shit ton of ideas. It's exactly just taking all those ideas, putting them on the back burner, and specifically telling them this is the thing that we have to get done today. Nothing else matters. And lastly is balance. Listen, I'm not an advocate for balance, and maybe that's what's wrong with me. But there are seasons in life, and right now I'm in a season of life where I have to work a lot. Like my why is so big, and I'm so excited for what's to come that I understand that I have to get a lot of shit done. And sometimes you have to say no to things. Sometimes you have to be socially awkward and say no to the things that are going to deviate you from the plan, and that's fine. But you have to understand that, or in the large scheme of things, you have to avoid certain things that are going to deviate you from the plan. And this only really matters when you have a really strong why, and you have direction, and you have plans, and you have things that you know that if you do them, you're going to get to the place where you want to get to. You're able to say no to the things that don't really matter. I'll leave that for another video because I think it's way too deep. So again, just to recap, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to get really close to the consequence and don't do the things that you're saying that you're going to do. That's the external thing. The second thing is the internal stuff. It's the thing that's stopping you from acting first and adjusting later. So that's your internal consequence. And lastly, it's the right now. What are you avoiding? Fear that's holding you back? Is it over perfectionism? Is it selective procrastination? What really is it? When I go with my clients through these 3 things, we essentially force our business to grow because we're so hyper focused on the things that matter that we're not working on the things that don't really matter. And right now, YouTube is really smart. So whatever video is on screen right now, which I'm gonna make sure it's the video that is going to help you save so much hours in working on the wrong thing so that you can work on the right thing. Check that video, it's gonna help you tremendously. For now, I'll see you in the next one.